Howdy, everyone. Welcome to the Brother Sister Show, a family-owned and operated podcast where two siblings keep in touch by talking about movies. This week, we're talking about Livia's pick, Sound of Metal. But before we get into that, what's up, Livia? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
I'm like really far away from my mic. Yeah, it's been a wild week. I was texting my friend saying like, "Hey, last week was crazy," but then I was thinking like, you could say that about literally any week this year. Like, it's barely January 11th, and shit's
Quite
hit
the
the
year
fan.
we've had already.
Yeah, but I'm okay. I will say I want to start this episode off with some unsolicited advice. If you need like a reset, you feel like you're going to have a mental breakdown. I might be speaking from experience, but if you feel like something is like you just need a change, you need something, if you can, I highly recommend taking a Wednesday off. It sounds weird.
Hump day.
But it was just so nice to just have that random day where go to work, kind of, I don't like long weekends weren't working for me because it was just after the holidays and I just had 2 consecutive long weekends, but I don't know, it just didn't feel like when you clump them all together, it just doesn't feel like an actual break to me. And I think what I needed was like like what our dad would say sometimes was to shock the system.
Yeah.
I needed to shock my system to like just be off on a Wednesday and go back to work and only work 2 days. Like it's like I have a break and then I tell myself, oh, you just have to do 2 more days and you get to the weekend.
You know,
So
you just made yourself 2-day weeks right there. Monday, Tuesday, you're like, the weekend's tomorrow. Tuesday was your Friday, and Friday was your Friday. That sounds awesome.
it was very nice and I'm going to do it way more, I think. Yeah, so I did that last week and like I said, it saved me from what was probably not like a complete breakdown, but at least an anxiety attack, which is nice. So yeah, and then so I feel a little bit more refreshed. I watched, I think, a couple of movies, but I can't like recall. One of them that I will talk about that wasn't really like a fun movie to watch, but it's a new one, so I thought I'd talk about it. Is a movie that came out on Netflix called Pieces of a Woman. I don't know if you've heard about it, Anthony, or seen it.
Nah.
So it's one. I mean, I don't want to brag, but if you know me, you know that I love a festival. I love a film festival. And it's one of those that I think it came out of Sundance last year. There's certain movies that I'll hear about and I'll read about them during like Sundance or the ones that happen at the beginning of the year,
Right.
typically, and then I'll follow them throughout their whole like production, not production, but through the distribution cycle. And this was one of them, and I was very excited to see it. There was some conflicting things about it though, because Shia LaBeouf was in it.
Ooh.
And in a capacity that, how do I say this? His character acted a lot of the ways that were laid out on that the court case. I don't know if you read some of the transcript, but a lot of it felt similar, and so it was pretty rough to see that and to like know the kind of person he is now. But I will say fuck, I need to know the woman's name, but the woman in it was fucking amazing. Yeah. Oh my god, shut up. Vanessa Kirby, fucking tastic. She was great. And it's a hard subject to watch. Like I said, it wasn't a fun movie, but the movie itself, it had some, it kind of reminded me of Sound of Metal. Okay, sorry, I need a break for a second because we record on Discord now.
You're gonna be on. We record the videos now.
And I have to say that for a second, because our backgrounds are the colors kind of similar. For a second, I thought I was looking at you at the corner of my eye. and I saw somebody moving, and it was Kayla on your side. But my heart dropped. I was like, "What?"
She thought someone was in your room. That's amazing.
Wow. What was I even talking about? That scared the absolute shit.
Because you live
Oh
alone.
my god.
That would have been
I
scary.
know. That's the scariest part.
Plus, like, the way that they were walking, they would have just walked straight into your bed.
Or they could have like gone up, like they were crouching, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
I'm gonna have a nightmare about that tonight. I don't remember what I was talking about. What the fuck was I talking about?
The
I'm so sorry.
actress or the actor in
Yeah,
the
she was
movie?
good in it. Oh no, okay. So the movie, the takeaways I had from it, I mean, it's kind of reminded me of Sound of Metal, where I really loved like I love the acting in it, just from her though. Like everybody else was kind of, but I feel like in parts that I just wanted more of, and instead they like gave me the whole thing. Like I wanted a piece of the pie, like the story, but they decided to just shove it all into one movie, and I didn't really love that. Um, but yeah, the heaviest of warnings, I guess, if you watch it and you read that transcript about Shia LaBeouf, because it was not, like I said, there were some parts where it was kind of scary to watch, but yeah. Vanessa Kirby though, she's great. I watched other stuff too, like today I watched both of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants movies.
Why?
I don't know. I
Unnecessary.
just wanted something that was like, I think after watching that, I was like, yeah, I need to watch something that I don't need to pay attention to because I watched it while I was working.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're just fun. I like a good teen movie.
What was it on?
Which one? Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants?
Right. Yeah.
HBO Max. Both of them are on HBO
Oh.
Max.
You already said Pieces of a Woman was on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
That's it?
From what I can remember, I also started watching. I don't know the name of it. I know it's based on the Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I don't know what the name of the new. God, I sound like
I think it is
mom
called
right now.
Sabrina the Teenage
No,
Witch.
it's not. That's the original one it's based off of.
What's it called?
But
The Chilling
the
Adventures
chilling.
of Sabrina.
There you go. That I started watching that because my friend recommended it to me. Mostly because she said it's a good show if you want to yell at the main people in it, because
Oh.
like I guess they're annoying. And I haven't got to the annoying part yet, but it's actually I'm on the first season, and I think the first season is good, but it's one of those shows that gets real like worse. I think I don't know. Don't come at me. I don't know if that's true. That's what I'm assuming. Like
I've
I feel
only
like it's like a Riverdale kind of show.
Oh, I don't like Riverdale. I started watching Sabrina with Kayla, and then she just
I
started
like
watching it
it.
without me. So I just like gave up on that show.
It's okay for now. Yeah, I don't know. I think I do like that she has a cat, a black cat,
Mm-hmm.
because I also have a black cat. And I like his name. I think his name is like Salem, but that feels like everybody that has a black cat, they name their cat that.
Salem.
So I don't want to like. Yeah, I saw a TikTok that was like, if you have a black cat, stop naming them this, and it was like Salem, Lucifer, all this stuff.
Lucifer.
Yeah. Well, Lucifer's kind of funny because this girl said that she named hers, like in the comments she said her cat's name is Lucifer, but she calls her Lucy.
Lucy, yeah. That's in a
I thought
movie.
that was cute,
What movie is that?
but I don't know. But
Oh, that's in
I mean, nobody
Hereditary.
said Ari. Is it?
Yeah, I think.
What?
Because, like, isn't the lady she calls, like, her...
Louis.
Louis. Oh.
Oh, that's a good one. That's what I should have named Ari. God damn it, Anthony. Why would you tell me this now?
I don't know.
I could have named him Louis. I mean, I guess I could just change it now. He doesn't fucking know his name. He doesn't answer to Ari. I also started calling him Potato because he likes potato chips, so
Potato?
he doesn't fucking know. Yeah, I think Potato's cute.
The alternative.
Yeah. Man, Louis. Fuck. Maybe that can be his middle name.
Potato Louis.
No,
Jr.?
Ari Louis. 2 E's. I don't know. I like Ari though. People always laugh. It's like one of those things where when I tell people his name, they start laughing, and then inside I'm like, I don't know how that's funny. No clue how that's funny.
Like the
Yeah.
grande.
Oh my god, please don't fucking God damn it, mom. That's mom's fault. Like Ariana Grande. I could just hear her in my head.
It's
All right, how are
insane.
you doing?
I'm doing good. Yesterday it snowed here in
Oh yeah.
Wisconsin. Well, I mean,
I forgot it snowed here too, like a lot.
it snowed like 4 to 5 inches here, and that was a lot of fun. We went on campus. It was really pretty. Had a couple of snowball fights. Made the biggest snowman I could make, or we could make. Uh, but
Tackled it.
I'm glad it didn't. It doesn't snow, because I can see why our parents hate it. Like having to go through, like, shovel the driveway, get it all off your car. Like, it's just a big hassle. Because, like, we drove to campus, and it's kind of scary. Everyone, like, it didn't happen to us because, like, Kayla's car was made for anything, pretty much. She has a Jeep, and she got new tires recently.
Made for anything. Jeep.
Jeep. And she got new tires recently, so, like, the grip is fine.
Ooh.
But everyone else was, like, just, like, wobbling all over the road.
Well,
and it was, like,
also
scary.
Texas drivers don't know how to fucking. They can't even drive in rain.
It was scary because no one took the snow off their, like, car. So it was just, like, falling off.
Well, because you have to wait for it to like heat up, and Texans don't have the patience for that.
Yeah. No, the scary part was today. Like, it was this morning. It was still like the snow hadn't fully melted. We saw like 2 or 3 cars that they had snow completely on their windshield, and they had like the smallest portion like
Oh,
moved for
well,
the
it's because
driver.
people don't have the thing, but you could just use like a credit card.
Yeah. No, it wasn't even ice. It was just snow.
Oh, oh my god, people are fucking stupid.
Yeah, it was terrible. I used like a rag just because I didn't want to get my hands. I didn't have gloves at the time, so I just used like a rag to like just. Whoosh. But people are very dumb. I felt so like annoyed at everyone doing that. But as far as what I've watched, not a whole lot. I've been streaming a lot. We're getting close to the Cold War grind completion. But we watched Ready Player One the other day. It's all right. It's not bad. We were watching it, and Kayla was like, "That would be pretty cool, but like really scary to have like a real oasis, which would be really
like
cool."
the VR game.
Yeah, where it's just like real. I don't know. It would be really cool. I would really like that. And then
VR scares me.
today we watched Harry Potter. We watched The Goblet of Fire. We didn't really finish it because we kind of got bored. I don't know. It's just. I
I don't know. You couldn't pay me to watch a Harry Potter movie right now. It just sounds so boring.
Yeah, it's just a lot. I feel like I've seen it so many times, and I don't know.
You know what I would watch
Hmm.
again? Twilight.
Twilight?
I told you that time Sebastian and I watched it. Like, he was just like, "We should watch Twilight," and I was like, "Yeah, we should. We totally should."
You know what time it is? Twilight right now.
God, you know what I would pay good money to do is to watch it with Robert Pattinson.
Oh.
I just need his commentary. He would have amazing commentary. I also saw a video the other day that showed you how they did the running scenes.
Oh yeah.
My God.
I saw that too. Or like they were on like a treadmill kind of, but it was like covered in like green felt or something. And
I want,
stupid.
and also it was like being pulled.
Yeah.
It was like they were running on a treadmill that was being pulled by a car. Which I need. I also need carpool karaoke, but that.
I don't get it. Like, why? I want to know.
I mean, I kind of applaud them for doing the practical effects. I thought there was CGI.
I mean, it kind of was. It was like half practical.
Either way, though, to go that
It was very
extent.
bold.
And it paid off. Those movies are technically sound.
No fault. in Goblet of Fire, they have a stupid running scene too. It's like when they leave the port key the first time. It's
Oh,
like,
and they're like floating.
yeah, they're just like running kind of.
That's how I run in my dreams. I can't run. I'm like, ugh. Oh, and he's in that too.
Yeah.
Damn. He's the actor
So,
of our generation.
Moment of silence for that.
for Benson.
Yeah, he's been through so much.
He really has. He's like a cat. He's had like 9 lives.
Good time. As
Also, how many, like, we need to count how many franchises that man has been in. I totally forgot. Now he's Batman,
Oh yeah.
Harry Potter. What did I just talk about? Twilight?
That's it.
No, I feel like he has to have been in like another one.
Yeah. I don't
We'll
know.
think about it. Just in the middle of in the middle, I would say like Lord of the Rings. I know it's not that, but
Yeah.
like 20 minutes from now. Sorry, what have you watched?
That's pretty much it.
This is very sporadic
Yeah,
beginning.
I mean, it's been a weird year so far.
Oh yeah. I think but the weirdest thing was that you watched Goblet of Fire, right? Nothing else has happened this week.
Nothing else. No, nothing I can think of. Well, Deadpool 3 is going to be in the MCU. We found that out recently.
What does that mean? Has it not been? Where is it at?
Where's it at? No, like, I guess it's not within the MCU's, like, canon. So, like, he can interact with other characters now. I mean, he has the joke where he's like, where's everyone else in Deadpool 2?
Well, wasn't it with like X-Men? So X-Men are just by themselves. People are like, fuck them. They don't need to interact with anybody.
Pretty much. Well, it's like some weird thing with Fox because I think they have the rights. Oh, wait, no, I don't know. I honestly don't know because Disney owns Fox. So I have no idea.
Sony, isn't it?
No, it's Fox. Oh,
Who knows?
my bad.
Ooh, you know what that sound means?
That's time for the break.
Time for the break. A heavy metal drummer's life is thrown into a free fall when he begins to lose his hearing in Sound of Metal. Directed by Darius Martyr, story by Darius Martyr and Abraham Martyr. Screenplay by Darius Martyr, you guessed it, Darius Martyr, and Derek Cianfrance, starring Riz Ahmed, Olivia Cook, and Paul Raci.
As for how much it cost, we don't really know because, COVID.
This is a pandemic movie, yeah.
The only figure that we do have is that it grossed $10,000 and 100. I said that weird. 10,000, 100. How do I say this? Around $10,000 worldwide.
Yeah, I kept the whole thing in motherfucker because you used to make fun of me. They're hard to say. $10,103. How is that hard?
There you go, $10,103. Critics gave it a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb, a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 81% on Metacritic. Numbers are hard for me right now.
This, like you said, well, I think it's cut out, but this is the first episode. All right, so the first thing I want to start off with is actually a fun fact because, Anthony, can you please tell the audience what assignment I gave you for, not assignment, how would you say, like a...
You gave me notes.
Yes.
You gave me a direction.
Oh, direction, yeah. What was the direction I gave you?
When you watch the movie, turn on the subtitles. But I already have them on all the time, so.
I know, but I figured I would make it a point to say to have them on because I don't have them on. Well, and I didn't even realize that my streaming tip actually follows this out because it talks about, subtitles. So the first fun fact is although streaming the film on Amazon Prime allows you to turn off the captions, the filmmakers intended for the captions to be on the duration of the film. And that is how it was shown at film festivals. They wanted to bring hearing people into the experience of those who are deaf or hard of hearing, who also require captions on for any film or TV shows. Sorry, I read that weird. But yeah, so they intended it to, and I didn't really see that until like halfway through. So the beginning, I didn't have any of them on, but after I read this, I turned them on, and it does. I think it does. Like they said, this movie does feel like an experience. Um, so I'm
Definitely.
glad that I wish they would have. I wish there was like some sort of directive that it says on there, or that it automatically has it. Because since mine were set to have them off, I didn't have them on. But I don't know if it makes a difference. All right. Just I guess to get kind of a where we were at in this movie. I had heard of it. This is also another like I think a festival movie that I'd heard of, but you hadn't, right, Anthony?
No, David told me about it and said that it was pretty good. The only thing I asked about was if Riz Ahmed had played the drums in it. That was the
Oh,
only
and
thing
we'll get to that later.
That was the only thing I really knew about it.
Okay. All right. So we start on Ruben, who is played by Riz Ahmed, and he's the drummer of a band called Backgammon, which is a
Very
great
cool.
band name. And they're a two-person band, and they're playing in a really new. They're touring, so you can tell like they didn't really talk about their popularity. They did have a lot of like magazine clips and newspaper clips, so I'm assuming they're pretty popular, but it's probably like a localish
Yeah.
kind of feel. Excuse me. And so one thing well, you just brought this up about the whole drums thing. One thing for me, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but whenever I watch a movie where an actor is playing somebody that has a super specialized skill like drumming or like usually music stuff that you can show like piano, stuff like that. Um especially ones, but it's different with piano and drums because with piano I feel like a lot of the ways they do that is to cut to like somebody else
Close-ups.
playing and they don't show their head. But with drums, I feel like it's hard to do that because you have to see their entire body. And if you are going to get a double, then you have to match their body and you have to like find a way to cut their head off in the frame. And so usually for these, I look super close so I can see like catch those little cuts in the ways that they hide that the actor's not actually doing the skill. Because I think they could tell if like somebody that plays piano watches a movie where the actor does not know how to play piano, it's pretty obvious. Or same with guitar. People are like, yeah, but those aren't
Yeah.
real notes. So I paid super close attention, and I couldn't tell if there was a double. Um, and most of the time I can. This time I couldn't, and that is because Riz Ahmed learned how to play the drum over the course of 6 months, which played off because he's very good. From
He's
what I mean, I've never played drums, so I don't know, but he looks like he's really good at it.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta play it for your specific like style of music, and I feel like he fits it perfect.
Yeah. Also, I love his like his whole look. His hair looks
Hair looks
fantastic. The
cool.
tattoos are really funny. There was one that I saw. I forgot. I should have taken a note of it, but it was like I don't know. They look cool. I think he. I don't know if he does them, but I don't know. Um, we also meet Lou, who is his bandmate and also his girlfriend, and they live together in a surprisingly roomy Airstream, is how I described it.
It looks very
Usually, when I
cool.
see very cool, and especially with an Airstream, because Airstreams are very expensive. I don't know if you've ever looked it up, but
No.
especially the ones that you can drive, very, very expensive. As opposed to like the ones you pull. I don't,
Oh,
like
okay.
this one is, he like actually drives it. And it's truly insane how similar they show his morning routine, and it's very similar to mine. Although he does do less push-ups than I do.
Oh yeah.
Um,
How many do
so
you
yeah.
do?
I mean, if you're talking like a Monday, like this morning I did like 100.
Uh, fair enough.
Yeah, you know how like you want to do a smoothie, you want to like make a smoothie within like 30 seconds. That's when I do it. That's my time.
Oh, you give
So
yourself
just a
30
quick
seconds to do
100.
100 push-ups.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I
I
like the
saw this
way
one video. I'm sorry, go on.
I just like the way that they're like the way like they're able to store so much in there, like all their music equipment, all like the
The Airstream.
yeah, it's very impressive because like he has his kit and then like all the AV stuff, like the
And
mixers
it
and all
looks
that
like
stuff.
they carry like it takes place of like their tour bus, so they have to carry everything on
Yeah,
there.
So
And like you said, it's a lot of equipment.
that looks awesome.
So
You saw a video?
very cool. Oh, the video. So people were talking about like their favorite moments from like TV shows.
Yeah.
And there was this moment. I don't know if you ever watched that reality show with Ozzy Osbourne and his like family.
Oh yeah.
There was a moment where he was making a smoothie and he like turned it on, and Moose, like, obviously blenders are so fucking loud. He turned it on and he left it for what seemed like 5 minutes, not maybe longer. He just like left it on. He went to his living room. He just like took a nap, and it was just it was on the whole time, and it was like starting to smoke, and the fire alarm started, or the smoke alarm like was going off. He was still asleep, and then eventually he got up and he turned it off. He acted like it was fun.
What the hell? Rich people are
Yeah, that
weird.
was very funny. Yeah, I like. I wish now I want to watch that show. I never watched that show, but fucking
I've
hilarious.
seen a couple
All right.
episodes. It's funny.
All right, back to the movie. So I also love the way that the main people's relationship is portrayed, because the first thing is that I notice is that they're like doing something and he's like, well, are you ready to dance? And I was like, what? And they just started to like dance with each other, and it just felt like something that was in one of their rituals that they do all the time,
Yeah.
where they just like dance with each other in the morning, and I loved that. Another very realistic thing that I loved is talking about the weirdest shit while you're driving, because that's something that me and Sebastian do constantly, because he's always the person driving. Because I mean, I was making fun of Texas drivers because I am a Texas driver. I drive like absolute shit. that one that one meme that you sent me, Anthony, I sent it to Sebastian, and I maybe I can post it, but it was like girls be driving like, ooh, oopsie, and it's a car that's like absolutely wrecked. And I sent it to Sebastian and he was like laughing. And I told him, like, Anthony said that to me and I laughed so hard. And he was like, that feels like that feels like you and Anthony's exact sense of humor. He's like, it's funny, but it's not that funny to me, but I can see why it's funny to y'all. Like, I was like crying. And he was like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
But we just like talk. Well, he always drives.
Yeah.
And we just talk about the weirdest shit. Like, we've been talking about manifesting a lot. And the other day we were driving somewhere for his birthday, like just going to like some grocery store. And we were just talking about manifesting. And I think in this movie, she was talking about like her, like, oh, also another conversation I've had with myself is where she was saying, do you ever think about your own funeral so you can just make yourself cry?
Oh.
And I'm like, yeah, I do. So I just love the way, like, a lot of the things I like from this movie is their relationship and how it's portrayed. And I just really love that start from it. And then we get to their second show, and that's when this like stuff starts to pick up. And so we start to hear the first what's the first indication that Ruben's hearing is starting to change. And the next morning, I think it's during their second show, before they're like setting up, and you can hear it. He's like acting weird, but you can also kind of hear it. And then the next morning it gets really bad. And he also does a relatable thing where he's like talking to himself so he can try to hear it, but he's also coughing.
He's coughing. Like,
that's exactly what I would do.
The same ritual, but like without any sound, because it's his like hearing's obviously losing. Like, he can't hear the blender. Like,
and
the music.
That's bad.
Yeah,
His
like
blenders are loud.
Yeah, that's scary. Very scary moment. And he's just like, he's pretty calm about it. I mean, he doesn't say it like that for long, but
I think too they kind of show why he's so calm later. Because I think he knows it's bad, but he might feel like it's like the flu, or he's just got to like take something and then it'll get better. And like you said, there is a certain dread on his face that's very. I think it just is a testament to Riz Ahmed's like acting, that it's very palpable and it's not too much. Like, it's not like, oh my god, my hearing is gone.
Yeah.
Because realistically, I think that's how people would react, where you feel like it's like we felt our stomach drop with just his look.
Yeah.
and that's exactly how he felt. And God, I didn't realize how much I missed seeing Riz Ahmed and things. This is the first time I've seen him in so long.
I know.
And that might be my fault, but I can't remember the last thing he was in.
I
Star
probably.
Wars, maybe? Was that him? In
Oh,
Rogue One?
that's right. I forgot he was in that.
I think that's the last thing I've seen him in.
I watched
I don't know,
Nightcrawler
but I
pretty
missed
late,
him.
so I think that's the last time I saw him.
Oh, I
And
forgot he's in that too.
he's good in that too. He's very good in this
Yeah.
movie.
Oh God, he's so good in this movie. Um, yeah, and so after this he decides he needs to go somewhere. And a fun fact though about this scene about the scenes where Ruben is struggling to reconcile his hearing loss. Riz Ahmed wore auditory blockers deep inside his ear canal, which made me cringe to put something deep inside your ear canal. And they emitted white noise so that it can, like,
Oh, okay.
act like he couldn't hear anything. And he told USA Today, I quote, "I couldn't hear anything, including the sound of my own voice." After some time, he decided to forego the sound blockers and to simply immerse himself in deaf culture by communicating with the director and deaf cast almost exclusively through ASL, or American Sign Language, which I think I think it was important for him to start out that way so he can, like, actually physically understand what that felt like. But yeah, it's probably the best to go, because it is a culture to, like, immerse yourself, to meet people, to ask questions, learn the language, all that stuff. um
That's really cool. Like sign language. I've always thought that sign language is like so cool. And like Kayla told me this, that I mean we learned later, but like your name in sign language, like a deaf person, someone from the deaf community has to give that to you. Like it's not just like
mhm.
your name spelled out. It's like a special one.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
always thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I learned that a long time ago, but yeah, it's very cool. um yeah, and I've always wanted to learn it. But the cool thing, I mean, I think, hopefully, well, I'll talk about this a little bit later. But hopefully this does make me want to learn the language. It looks very hard, but I do want to try. Um, and I do remember in college, we had to pick a language, and I really wanted to do ASL, but that was the class that filled up so fast. Like, everybody wants to do it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool that hopefully that's, like, beginning to be a bigger thing where a lot of people want to learn.
Yeah.
Um, but not for the novelty, but because it's like, it's a language that not a lot of people know. All right. So he goes to a pharmacist, and we can hear like he can this whole time, which is very muffled. It's kind of like if you put your speaker in water is what it feels like. Like,
Yeah.
he can make out that they're talking to him, but he can't really hear them. Which, again,
Yeah.
terrifying.
Or it's like the like a mom in Charlie Brown, like wah, 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 wah.
That's exactly what it sounded
And,
like, yeah.
and I listened to this, or I watched this movie with headphones on, so I was like pretty immersed. And I was like,
Oh.
it was pretty scary, like to have a conversation with someone, or try to have a conversation with someone, and to hear that, like I can see how scary that is. Very, very.
Yeah, I never even thought of that, to watch it with headphones on.
Yeah.
Totally different experience. And after this, he goes to a doctor. The pharmacist finds him a doctor, and I think my favorite scene so far, probably my second favorite scene, and I thought you would like it too, so I wanted to, like, talk about it. It's the hearing test that he takes, and it's because the doctor and Ruben are separated by glass. The doctor is covering his mouth, and he's saying certain words into a mic, so he can test what Ruben can hear. And we start off in Ruben's side, where it's still very muffled, the same muffling that we heard in the pharmacy, like I said, as if the speaker's underwater. And then we cut to the doctor's point of view, and that's also like his point of view in how we can hear, where we can hear it very clear. And so we can't really hear what Ruben can anymore, but the thing that, like, that I really loved is that we can hear just how wrong he's getting the words.
Yeah.
Because when we heard it on his side, we can't, like, I felt like I was, like, moving forward. I was like, what the fuck is that guy saying? Um, And then finally we can like hear that, well, for one, he's getting them super wrong, and also he's just not answering because he can't hear anything. And that is like even more, I feel like there's just a lot of moments where your like stomach drops, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah. It's just
Ugh.
that's a scary thing. Like especially in his case where it happens so suddenly, where it's just like
Yeah. I also I don't I did a little, not a ton of research, but I is that does that happen though, where it happens overnight like that? Or is that just a movie thing?
I really don't know. I would have to do more research. But he said
I
that
saw that it was a kind of a criticism of it, where it was like, that why does it happen so suddenly, you
I mean
know?
it could the doctor said it was a like the way that they explained it was it's like either a mixture of you're being exposed or it could just be an autoimmune thing. So I don't really know. So I mean like I remember in middle school when I played in percussion, we would go into like these like our practice rooms and we would just like hit the drums and cymbals as loud as like as hard and as fast as we could. And it got to a point where uh like I felt so much pressure in my ears and then we'd leave and I could only hear ringing for like 30 minutes. So I
Oh
don't know if
wow.
like being exposed to that for years cuz it seems like he's been doing this for years that
Well,
could
we
do it too.
also, I wonder too, I know they brought up autoimmune. I wonder if his, because we learned later that he was a heavy drug user. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I wonder that. Either way, I was reading some reviews and somebody said like one of the saddest parts of the movie is that it's he did it to himself.
Mhm.
Whether it was the drug use or being exposed to loud music like that, that's what sucks even more, is that he can't blame it on something else. It's directly from him,
Yeah.
which is really sad. But yeah. And so he finally gets to talk to the doctor after this test is over. And the doctor doesn't have great news. So he tells him, like you said, that it's could be a bunch of things. They don't know until they test it. But one thing he's sure about is that whatever he's lost, the hearing that he's already lost is not coming back, because I think Ruben is like, well, just, when will it get better kind of thing. And he's
Yeah.
like, dude, how it is right now, it's not going to get better, which is so scary. And he was like, so you just got to like preserve what you can, what you have while you can, because we can try to make it, we could try to keep it how it is, but there's no way you're going to get it back. And so he's like, so what you need to do is not be exposed to loud music. And Ruben's like, got it. And he still goes to his show,
Yeah, like direct like hard cut to him playing and like just
like smashing on the drums
yeah.
and playing as hard as he can. And um yeah, that he, after, like, you could tell during the show he's like missing cues. He's not having a great time, and then he just like leaves. And then his girlfriend follows, and she's like, asking what's happening. And he finally she finally tell or he tells her what was happening, and she is freaking out. She's like, I mean, imagine your partner just tells you, I can't hear anything. That's
Yeah.
fucking scary, especially your bandmate.
That's like your life.
Very scary.
Your livelihood
Yeah.
is being able to hear.
And like on top of that, like I said, we do know now at the end of the movie, obviously, that he's an addict, but we don't know it at this point. And then we don't learn, at least I didn't learn, until she calls Hector, who is his sponsor.
Yeah.
And she, I don't know, you could see the fear in her eyes, and I could tell, like, obviously she was scared for him, but it felt like something else. And I was like, oh, okay, he's an addict. And she was like, he's gonna spiral. And that's exactly what I thought. It was just a very scary situation. But Hector is on his shit, because the next morning he finds, or that night he finds a place, I think, or the morning, I don't know, but he
Yeah.
finds a place that he can go to, and the perfect place, which is run by a guy called Joe. And Joe is played by Paul Racy, I think is how you say it. And he isn't actually deaf. So he plays Joe, the founder of the deaf rehab facility. Um, And while the actor isn't deaf, his both of his parents are, and he is a prominent figure in the deaf community known as CODA, which stands for Child of Deaf Adults, and a member of Hands of Doom, a band who performs in ASL.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I didn't know that was a thing.
Hands of Doom.
So that's cool to know. I know that's a very very good name for a band, especially with that performs ASL. Amazing. And I should have looked up. I need to look up
A
like
performance?
videos. Yeah, I need to see that. After this I'll look it up. But so basically Joe is running a home that Ruben can benefit from. But that means it's a very specific home too, so I can't give Hector enough props, and I wish he was in the movie more than just his voice, because holy shit, he found the perfect
We don't
place.
even hear his voice, I think.
Oh yeah. I forgot. Well, she put him on speaker and then he just like starts yelling at the phone because he can't fucking hear, but then we don't hear him talk again. I don't know. It's a very weird situation, but yeah.
Yeah, we don't even hear him. But shout out to
But
Hector, man. He finds a good place.
man, he's got the hookups, man. All right. So, like I said, it's a great place that Ruben should be at, but he has to leave Lou. The Joe tells him, "You have to be alone. You have to do this alone." And Ruben's like, "No, I'm not leaving her."
It's
Um,
it's funny because he's like Joe's interviewing him and just like asking him about himself. He's like, "How long have you been sober?" He's like, 4 years. And then he's like, "Well, call Lou in." She's like, or he's like, "How long have you been with her?" He's like, 4 years. And then it just like cuts. I thought that was really funny because he's
what
like,
do you think that meant?
I think that just showed Joe that Lou is the reason he's sober, and that like
They're very codependent on each other.
yeah. So I think that was why he. I
Yeah.
mean, I think regardless, the rules are that you need to be there by yourself. But I feel like that was just like you need to be able to sustain yourself. Joe
Yeah.
to Ruben.
I wonder too. I think that plays into like a lot later, like what
Definitely.
happens, but we'll talk about it again. All right. So the next morning Ruben is just freaking out. Like Lou wakes up and he's just throwing his shit everywhere, breaking all of his expensive
I
equipment.
love this scene
Um
because she's like yelling at him like stop, and he obviously can't hear her,
I can
and
hear
she
ya.
and she's just like so frustrated. She just like balls up kind of and just I don't know how you get someone to stop like that without like actually hurting yourself, or because she can't really do anything. It's like yeah,
Yeah.
I like that scene a lot too.
And she wants him to stay there. So it's not like she's like, "No, it's okay. We can do this together." It's like she wants him to go. Um But after that, she's like, "Yeah, you gotta fucking stay there." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, I will." And so she leaves, and I think that's how he like decides to go, is that she has like no choice. She just leaves. And the moment, like the scene that they um where she leaves him was very like more emotional than I thought it would be. Like I was like, "Oh god."
Yeah,
Cuz cuz then we learned we could you can kind of tell, like there was a scene at the beginning where she's sleeping and you could see like cut marks. So you could tell like he has, obviously problems. He has his addiction that he's working through, but they don't really talk about it, but she's also has some things that she's working through, and they're obviously doing it together. And I think she said, like, I don't know, there was like a moment that was, it seemed very toxic, where she said, like, if you hurt yourself, I'm going to hurt myself. So
yeah.
I was like, ooh, this is I that was like the first indication where I was like, this is not gonna end well. But or at least not end on the way that they thought it would. But she leaves and he's like, okay,
You're my heart,
I'll
bro.
go. Oh yeah, that was very sweet. That's when I put another note where I was like, man, he's so fucking good. Why is he not in everything?
I
I don't know.
know
He's very good.
he's very good in this movie.
I hope I see him a lot more. But maybe it's just a fault of mine. I don't. I need to look at his filmography. But after this, Ruben starts to settle into the home. That I don't forget what we call it, a rehab facility. And he is given his task, which is learn how to be deaf,
Yeah,
which is a great task. I love it. And I also love the assignment that Joe gives Ruben, because he finds him trying to fix the house, and he's like, you know what? What you got to do is I'll make you coffee in the morning. And like Joe actually does this, which is amazing to me. Where
Mhm.
he's like, I'll make you coffee in the morning because you get up early, and I'll have a donut for you. And you're gonna go into a room, an empty room, with just a table, a chair, and a notepad, and you're gonna write. And when you feel restless, you can like stand up, but when you're okay and you want to sit down and write, then you're gonna write. And I was like, wow, this is my fucking nightmare
Sounds
to be
scary.
forced to write like that. No fucking way. About my feelings, Joe, go to hell.
I mean, that's what he does the first time. He like mashes
Yeah.
his donut and he puts it back together and then mashes it again. That was so weird.
But truly though, that's me. Where I'm like, I'm pissed, but I don't want to make a mess because I'm gonna have to clean it.
Yeah. He's like this fucking guy. I really like a lot of the way that the like directors, like the team behind this movie decided to make it like the captions, they don't, because obviously Ruben, he doesn't know ASL. Like he's had his hearing for all of his life until this moment. And they're signing, but we can't tell what it is because they haven't captioned it because Ruben doesn't know what it is. And that's just I thought that was like a really good choice because you can see, like, I felt so clueless because I had no idea what they were saying, and that's exactly how Ruben felt. Like he was like, I don't know what the hell's going on. He's like, when he goes, like when he's in their circle, he's just like, hi, my name's Ruben, and Joe's signing for him, and then he's just like there after, because he can't like communicate with any of them.
Doesn't participate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that group session where he's just sitting there.
Yeah.
I also like the dinner scene where he's sitting there because it's like Sebastian's family only speaks Spanish or
Oh.
predominantly speak Spanish, and that's what it feels like to like when they're laughing, you like start smiling and you laugh too because like you, other people's laughter just makes you laugh, but I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're saying.
Yeah, I feel the same way with Kayla's family. I have to put 100% brain power to try to figure out what her family
But
members
then
are
I
saying.
understand more than I think I do. Like
Yeah.
they'll talk. I don't know the same with you, but they'll talk, and then Sebastian will be like how it'll happen is they'll talk to each other, and then Sebastian will go to me, and he's like, "So my dad said," and I'm like, "Oh, I think I got it." But yeah, you start to get, and I'm sure I wonder if that's how sign language is, where you start to get certain at least words, so you can like put them together and understand the context. So I'm assuming that's how it was, and like it works so well to be like probably how the actor, how Riz, like how he learned the language is just being immersed in it because it teaches you so much more than you ever thought it would.
Yeah, I think Joe does like helps that a lot. I mean, I'm sure, well, because he's like one of the few people who can actually speak because he lost his hearing.
Oh
We
yeah.
learned during the Vietnam War, so he can use his voice and everything like that, and he'll talk. I mean, obviously, Ruben can't hear him, but he has this cool
Uh-huh.
like little contraption where it like
Oh
translates.
yeah, it'll
Right.
translate for him.
But he also signs at the same time to just like immerse Ruben. So when he gets to that point, like he's already used to it. Like all
Yeah.
those little stuff, I really like about this movie. Like the directions, or not directions, but like how the how they chose to put the audience in Ruben's like point of view, or like in the dinner, like you're saying, we can hear, we can actually hear like the noises everyone's making, and because they're deaf, they're like banging on the table, all stuff that like we wouldn't do
Oh, it's
because
so loud. Yeah.
yeah, it's all very loud, and like I don't know, I really like that about this movie, just
And the
the
cool thing
directions.
I really loved is that during those scenes, like you said, they don't have captions. And I think it's very rare that somebody that's deaf or hard of hearing can watch a movie and there's something that is specifically made for them and that hearing people that don't know ASL are left out of.
Yeah.
Because it's usually opposite,
Uh huh.
where like they don't, they obviously, there's certain cues where it's like, it tells you when certain sounds are happening, but it's different to hear it. And
Yeah.
so for them to have something that like they had jokes during the dinner scene where I was like, oh, I wonder what they're laughing about. Like, I wonder what they're talking about, but I'll never know.
Yeah.
But they will. So I'm glad that that there's something like that I hope that there's more movies in the future like that, and that at least like it's crazy to me that there's no theaters that you can go to have subtitles if it's in English.
That
That's
is
insane
crazy.
to me. Especially for like Sebastian's parents. Like I was thinking like not just his parents, but people that speak other languages. It's so crazy that you don't have the option, especially in a place like San Antonio, to like go to a movie. And if you want to have it in like play it in Spanish and have the subtitles in English, or play it in English, have the subtitles in Spanish, like that feels so like doable. I don't know why people don't do that. Like when I went to the movies in Mexico, when I went like a while back, and we watched Suicide Squad. But it was in, I think it, from what I remember, I feel like it was in, well, see, that's the thing. I don't remember. It was either one of those where it was in Spanish, but it had English subtitles, or it was in English and it had Spanish subtitles. But I don't remember. But I remember exactly what happened in that movie. So it's not like it's hard to watch a movie in Spanish, but to read the subtitles.
Yeah.
People just don't want to do that. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, it's just crazy how inaccessible this world is to so many people, and it's really sad. But yeah, moving on. All right, so as he's learning about his new life, getting settled into his new routine, um he starts to meet these, like, I think he they take him to this classroom with these kids, I guess, so he can learn sign language. They don't really explain why he's there. I guess he's there to help out, to learn, to further immerse himself. But there's a really cool moment after he meets all these kids. They have like some sort of performance where some guy's just doing breakdancing in front of them.
Yeah.
Very cool. Kind of weird, very cool. Love it. Um, One of the kids is being kind of restless, so he just takes him outside. They just sit on a slide, and then they start to drum to each other because they could feel the vibrations in
Mhm.
the like slide, which I thought was very cool. And it feels like a turning point for Ruben because he is still kind of against it. He sneaks into Joe's office. I forgot about this, but he sneaks into Joe's office so he can read emails. Like, he's just like not. It feels like he's kind of just waiting out his time there. But then I feel like after having that moment with that kid, he's like, I should actually try.
Yeah, definitely.
So after that, we then to see Ruben like becoming adjusted to his new way of living. He's participating, he's learning ASL, he's pretty fluent from what it looks like, and he just looks like he enjoys it. Like, they're playing this one game. I don't really know what game it is. Again, I'm sure like somebody that's deaf could explain it, but it's just like they're playing some sort of game, and he's actually participating, and they're like having fun.
Yeah, you can see him having
um
fun.
and another fun fact is that Riz Ahmed also learned ASL for the film. I think we kind of talked about it, where he immersed himself, but he also is like, what I assume he's fluent. I don't know, but Ruben even started writing in that weird little room that Joe gives him. The writing, well, first of all, he's left-handed, so the writing is kind of awkward. But like the way he's writing, I was like, why is he doing it like that? But then I realized he's left-handed. But he's like writing all big, and it just looks like he's like doing what Joe said. He's just writing whatever's on his mind. And he also bonds with his housemates. Who's one, like, he's talking to them during dinner. He drew a naked woman for one of his housemates to get a tattoo of, and they see later that she does get the tattoo,
That was so
which
funny.
I fucking loved.
Like when they were working on that together, that was
Uh,
really funny.
Such a great moment. Oh, and a fun fact about another cute moment of this movie is when Ruben is playing drums with the kids, and he's like teaching them how to do it. And God bless them, they're so bad at it, but it's so cute. Um, that is actually an unscripted moment. So it's very cute in many ways. After this, he meets up with Joe to just talk about his future at the rehab facility, because I don't think they say exactly how long he has to be there or how
Yeah.
long he's been there, but you can assume he's been there for a while and his time is coming up. And so Joe offers him a way to like work at his program, work with the kids, stay there. And instead of really actually thinking about it, Ruben, he just like, he kind of, he has this moment where he goes to the the computer. He sneaks into the room where Joe works. He sees that um Lou, his girlfriend, is performing without him, and I guess that makes him think like, I don't know, maybe you can help me figure out what this means, because I don't know if he felt like, for lack of a better term, like FOMO, like he was missing out on it, or if he was like, oh, that's my purpose for being here and I need to get back to it.
I think it was a reminder, like,
Oh, okay.
but I mean, it could have been both, honestly. I when I saw
Yeah.
that, I feel like he was like, damn, I miss it. Like, I want to be back.
Like getting to what he actually wanted to do.
Yeah, but he was probably also a little offended because he's like, why did she move on so fast or something?
I mean, what is she supposed to do?
Yeah, I don't know. I
Well,
thought,
and then it made me think of where he told her, "Will you wait for me?" And she said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, did he think that meant like what did that mean?" Because to me, at first, I was like, "Well, like not to see other people,"
yeah,
but then I was like, "Well, does he mean performing?"
they definitely could have been
I don't
more
know.
clear. He could have been more clear with that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I don't like ambiguity, so I'd have been like, "Okay, but like, what does that mean?"
I thought she was gonna like learn ASL, like, cause that would be a nice thing to do if your significant other doesn't have any hearing.
Well, it's kind of indicative of like, I guess we could talk about it a little bit later once we get to that,
Okay.
but it is indicative of like where it's headed, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think I saw that too, and I was like, "Are you learning shit, girl?" Like, or just the fact that she. I mean, I guess they said he doesn't get a phone, but like, did she call him? You know, did they email back and forth? Because we saw that first email, but
Yeah.
like, what happened after that? I don't know.
Oh, I do want to
Whatever.
say because he goes to her website, and I don't know if
Yeah,
you read some of the like. I guess
I did
they were like
not.
testimonials, kind of like reviews, maybe of her album. One of them said something along the lines of like, "I've conceived to every single one of your albums" or something like that. I don't know why that one stood out to me. It was really funny.
What a wild thing. I guess it has like a chat board or something. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it might have been that. I don't know. It
Strange.
was just there.
So, like we said, Ruben, before, like, he doesn't really, to me, it doesn't, I don't think he actually considers that offer, because it seems like a great offer. That's where I thought this movie was headed, is that he was going to, like, realize that he wants to do that. Lou was going to come. They were going to have a happily ever after,
Right.
but spoiler alert, that does not happen. So, he sells everything in the trailer little by little, including the trailer. And after that, he sneaks off to get the cochlear implant. It's that, I don't know if people. I'm assuming people are familiar, but if you're not, it's. I don't know exactly how it works, but I know what it is because of those videos of people getting it activated. Have you seen those before?
No, I
Well,
haven't.
like, the moment that we have later, where it gets activated after it gets implanted. There's a lot of videos of people like hearing their like significant other talk for the first time, or for a long time, like after the first time for a while, or some stuff like that, where
Right.
they're very emotional. But that's how I know what they are, is because of those videos. Um,
It just
and then after this, oh sorry,
it just bypasses the eardrum, right, or something. I think they mentioned that.
yeah, I like I said, I should have done. That's another thing I'm lacking on my. I didn't know if people like. I mean, if people, I guess you can tell me if you wanted me to research that. I thought that stuff was boring and people didn't like that part of it, but that might have just been my like
Oh.
internal critic.
Oh, this
And I
actually.
wanted to focus more on the like actual movie itself. But
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
sorry, what were you saying?
no, it reminds me. Completely forgot about this. But Kayla got like a ear scooper. I don't know how else to call it. It's like a little earwax extractor, but it has a camera on it.
Yeah, people be careful with those, because I saw it on TikTok and a lot of people were like, you need to be careful with those because you could hurt yourself.
Oh yeah, you could definitely hurt yourself, but we don't go far. So this is it right here.
Is it gross?
Well, fun fact, I have no earwax.
Really?
The very little earwax I do have is very flaky. Um,
Oh, okay.
so it's
Well,
like,
it's also not good to fully clean them.
No, yeah, you need some to keep stuff from coming in. But it's a lot of fun to see because Kayla has a lot of earwax. She's a normal person. I don't have any, but it's like
I don't know if I have any either.
kind of
I
gross
don't,
to.
and I know a lot of people will like use Q-tips, and then when they get their ears cleaned out, you can
Uh,
see that they're pushed all the way to the back.
yeah,
So I've never used them for that though. I
yeah,
have a well, I guess I can. This has nothing to do with the movie, but after like, I guess to kind of show people why you shouldn't clean out your ears fully, like your body does certain things for certain purposes. This actress, I want to say it's Ellie Kemper, but I don't know. Let's just say it was her. But she one day she said that she just had like a random like her ear just started hurting like really badly out of nowhere, and she went to the doctor and she was like, "Hey, like my ear hurts really badly.
what's
Can you
up?
like what's happening?" And they were like, "Well, we can just put some eardrops in there and then we'll see if that works." And
See what
so they did.
happens.
I mean, I'm this is it's been a long time since I heard this story, but it
Yeah.
stuck with me so much. It actually was the reason that I stopped like trying to clean my ears so much. Um, but they put eardrops in, and then she like well, the nurse did, I think it wasn't the doctor. The nurse put the eardrops in, and after a while the nurse was like, "Oh my god." And then she like walked out of the room and she was like, "What?"
What the hell?
And the doctor came in, and I guess like they took out something from her ear, and after they put the eardrops in, like a spider floated to the top of the her ear. So that's like she was like, "Oh my god," cuz a spider just fucking popped out. And the doctor said it was because she was so like good about cleaning her ears out that the spider got so deep in,
Yeah.
and it like caused her some like harm. She's fine after, but she was like
Wow.
that scarred me for life, and that's like one of my biggest fears.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's Kayla's too. Well, I don't know. It just reminded me because they show like some of the surgery, and it just looked
Oh my god.
like a scalpel, but like scooping out some of the ear. It wasn't earwax,
Yeah.
but like scooping out some of the actual ear. But
That's a gnarly procedure.
yeah, it looks crazy. It was a. It's been a lot of fun though. It was like a little light, and you can record it, and it looks
Maybe I'll get one.
huge on the camera because it's like a really small camera, but it's like nothing.
How does it feel when it's inside?
My ear canals are really like wide, so it doesn't really feel like anything. but I mean, it's pretty tiny, and I don't really like going in that far. Like you said, it's kind of scary. But yeah, cool.
Interesting. Nothing to do with the movie, but
Yeah, sorry, it
that's
reminded
okay.
me.
But yeah, no, but let me know. I guess just comment or something. You can put in a review, email us, whatever. If you do want us to, or at me, I won't say us because Anthony doesn't do this, but me to like go back into doing a ton of research on one specific thing.
Deep dives.
Because I don't mind doing it, but it turned into something where I was like, I don't even know if people like it.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Sorry, my cat is like doing us in the background. He likes to sing to me.
That's funny.
All right. So, um, after this, after he gets the surgery, he shaves his head. He goes back to um the rehab center. He meets up with Joe, and they have an interesting moment where he tells Joe what he did. They have a little conversation, and then he asks Joe, he's like, "Hey Joe, I hate to do this, but can I have some money?" And he tells Ruben after he asks him that, and he's like telling him about the life that he wants, and he's sorry that he did this, but he needs some money. And Joe said, "You sound like an addict." And that was like after him, he's been clean. Like he this whole time he hasn't used at all. Um, but for Joe to tell him that, I was like, yeah, that like as soon as he asked him that, I was like, oof. And
Yeah.
then as soon as Joe said that, I was like, yeah, he
Ooh.
does sound like an addict. And then he obviously tells him no, and then Ruben asks him if he can stay there with him while the implant, while he like waits for it to be activated in a couple of weeks, and he tells him no. And I do like, so I knew that he was going to tell him no, but I like after he leaves that Joe has such an emotional moment because you can tell he like cares about him so much, and that he doesn't offer like he doesn't offer a basically a position on his staff to everybody.
Yeah.
So he truly cared about him, and he saw this potential in him, and then Ruben just kind of like threw it away. Um,
I like his
so I like
speech.
that they let that. Oh yeah, I love the speech. And now he tells him. I mean, I don't know if I like. I kind of think it's kind of. I don't know. I guess it's not my place to say this, but it did feel kind of weird that he was telling him like, "Hey, here we don't try to fix it. Like we try to like live, not just live with it, but like actually live with it. Be like thrive with how we are, and like the what we're dealt with." And I think that's the main reason for him being like, no, I can't have you here because you're actively trying to fix it, and we're not trying to fix anything. We like how we live. I don't know, but then I was like, yeah, but who's to say, why is that a bad thing that Ruben wants a certain thing? But I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, why is that the bad thing that he's not, I don't think him trying like getting the cochlear implant is a direct like diss to all the other deaf people in that facility. But I mean, I guess that's like I said, that maybe that's not for me to say because I am not in that community. But
Yeah.
I'm just interested in what somebody in that community thinks about that. Because that is a strong message to say that everybody that's getting the cochlear implant is just trying to fix themselves and hates who they are.
Yeah. I think it's more of like the image everyone else in the community would have, because for a lot of them, I think like there is no fixing. There is no implant that they can have. And to like have someone in their community who like they looked up to. I mean, like he obviously had an impact, and Joe saw that, and that's why he wanted him on his team. Like a lot of people did care about him, and like he had a lot of fun with the kids. And I think those kids, if they saw that, they'd be like, I don't know. I don't think I'm
But
to
then
say either, but
shouldn't the message then be, I don't know, they're teaching, it seems like his facility is teaching a great message of like he said, learn how to be deaf, but what if this is the way that Ruben wants to be deaf? Why is that a bad thing? Again, I don't know.
yeah,
That's just a question that I had that I'm not saying that's what should happen, but
yeah,
that's just curious. Um,
fair question.
yeah. So we get to his activation day, and that was also a critique that I agreed with somebody else. I should have read this, or I should have like sourced it, but I saw it somewhere else where they were like, "Well, why is that?" I don't know. That just, I understand his principle, but it's like kind of messed up. But no, no, no. So we get to his activation day, and we can hear. So once he activates it, we can like he can hear, because we can, like you said, we have his point of view and we can hear exactly what he's hearing, but you can tell it's not exactly what he wanted. Like the sound is very staticky, and the tones are super high, and it sounds very strange. And this might be dumb to say, but I mean, I'm not a stranger to making myself sound dumb, but I never knew that it sounded anywhere near that
Me
when
neither.
you have an implant. I I guess this is stupid to think, but I thought it would kind of go back to normal. And I guess that's what Ruben thought too, that it would, I mean, normal, like at least maybe it would be muted, but it wouldn't sound staticky.
Yeah, I mean, it just sucks because it's just the technology. Like if he's like, who knows how it's gonna sound.
I mean, from a technical standpoint, I guess it's still very cool. Like he
Oh
did
yeah,
get some of the, you can hear what she's saying. It doesn't sound great. And as you can hear later in crowds, it's a fucking nightmare. But he can technically he can hear, but I guess I just didn't realize that it sounded like that. And I'm glad that this movie, hopefully it's accurate. I can't really tell if it is, but I'm glad that I know that now, because I felt so dumb thinking that it just makes your hearing come back fully. Like obviously, wow, that's not going to happen.
yeah.
Um,
I know you're not the only person, because I thought the same thing.
it seems like Ruben did too.
Yeah, I mean,
um, so he goes to see Lou, and at this point, I don't remember them saying where she was going, because when he went to Paris, I was like, what? She was in fucking Paris this whole time?
yeah, I think when she left, he said something. weird. He was like, I need a plan. Or said something that made me just like, who is he talking about? Because he's like, don't go back to him or something like that. Like, who are you going to rely on? Not him. I thought it
Oh,
was like an ex or something.
that's what I thought too. But then I was like, but then we realized that it was her dad.
Yeah, it's her dad.
And so he shows up to her place. And speaking of the dad, he meets him. He is sitting with him. They're just eating breakfast. And while he's waiting for her and talking to her, I took a note where I said, I have a bad feeling that it's not going to work out with them.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to leave without her. And that was my prediction. um, so after Lou, she comes home and they have a sweet little reunion. It is kind of, it feels awkward though. I don't know if how you felt about their reunion, but it felt very strange to me. Like if I, they don't tell us how long it's been exactly, but let's say it was like 3 months. I don't know how long it would be to learn a language and to,
Yeah.
sell your entire home. But let's say it's 3 months. If I hadn't seen Sebastian in 3 months, I wouldn't just be like, hey, like that's how it felt like.
Yeah.
And which was very strange. And I was like, yeah, that's red flag number two. Um, and then so that night they're gonna have a birthday party for her dad. And while he's at the party, the noise is so overwhelming to the point that it doesn't even matter that he has the implants in. Cause he still like he's trying to talk to some of her friends. He can't hear a goddamn word they're saying. And we're at this point we hear the same thing he does, and I cannot hear what they're saying. So that's like another thing where it's like, yeah, he can hear her, but like not like in certain settings, right? Like I don't know, that this just made me really sad where it was like he still felt so isolated. Like it felt like that moment when he was eating dinner with, before he had the implants, before he knew ASL,
Yeah.
he was just like eating dinner and wasn't talking to anybody. Like it's like he started the movie as like a version of himself that was very quiet, reserved, and then he started to like flourish and thrive in the middle. And then as soon as he got back to Lou and tried to like, assimilate into the world of the hearing, that he fell back into that like shell, or not shell, yeah, I guess so, like a turtle. Like he went back into his shell and he was super quiet and not the guy that we had started to like learn about and like meet.
It was so sad because
I hated it, yeah.
he's trying to talk to one of her friends and he's just like, I'm going to go get something to eat.
And he just like left and was by himself. It fucking sucked. And that's another thing that it'll come back in the end because I have like a little note about it, but it made me so sad that it's not like we don't, like, a lot of people don't know ASL. If somebody is, if somebody that only speaks ASL, that's deaf or hard of hearing, and they go to a party like that, and if they don't, like I said, it didn't matter that he had implants in or not because he couldn't hear anything. And so he has to have somebody like translate. Either he has to have somebody translate for him or find the one person that might know ASL. It just like it makes me sad for, like I said, people don't have access to even going to a party and feeling comfortable, and it really sucks. And it makes, I mean, we are part of the problem. So I am like very, I want to learn a ton of languages. I would love to, but I'm like, oh, I need to learn ASL because like this is annoying and it sucks. Um, and so they have another thing is I don't have much about the party other than she sings a song. Lou sings a song with her dad, and I loved that song. It was a very sad moment because I feel like Ruben started to realize certain things.
Yeah.
But the song, fantastic. I need to look it up on
I mean,
Spotify. I
he
love
said
it.
that. He's told her later that
Oh yeah, it was
evening.
great. And I like that we hear, like, first we can hear it clearly, but then we start to hear it in his point of view, but he can still hear it. So like,
It sounds like it's coming from an old radio or
yeah, or it sounds like when you're on FaceTime with somebody that has low connection.
yeah.
That's what it sounds like. Um, which sucks. But then let's get to my favorite moment of this entire movie. So after the party, Lou and Ruben are in bed together. And they start talking about the tour of their old life, and he's like, yeah, I can't wait to get back. I have to get some things sorted. But like let's get back to it. And I haven't mentioned it up to this point, but I don't know if I did, but Ruben points out when he gets back that Lou hadn't, I think he said that she hasn't been scratching. And I think I wish I would have like paid more attention, or I don't know if they actually like explained it, but I think it's a tick that she has when she has like anxiety or is feeling depressed or overwhelmed, that she just starts scratching herself to the point where she like starts to bleed. Um and so he tells her like, "Oh, you haven't been scratching." And she's like, "Yeah." But then this moment when he starts talking about, their old life, going on tour, play like, the album, that she starts doing it. And as soon as she starts scratching herself, he like stops her, and they have this moment where he has this realization, and they don't say anything. You can just see it in his like eyes, and she's like, "What?" And he said, "It's okay."
It's so
And then
sad.
he just kept saying that, and she was like, "Well, what do you mean?" But she started crying, because you get the cues that she also knows exactly what he means, but all he kept saying was, "It's okay." And she's like, "Well, what do you mean?"
Man,
And she starts crying.
that hit.
Oh,
I don't know why. I felt
well,
so sad.
I think it's also such a huge fear of any, like, me and like, you have a relationship, I have a relationship. I think that's a huge fear of like people in relationships, that you have that realization, and you have such a connection. Like, they still are connected, and they still love each other. Like, imagine having such a deep connection with somebody that when you know it's over, you don't even have to say it, because you both know.
Yeah. All you say is it's okay. That's so crazy.
It also reminds me, I need to send it to you, but there's a scene from the last season of Girls. I'm assuming you haven't seen that show.
No,
Okay.
I have not.
So there's a scene in a diner where all you need to know is that two characters, it's Adam Driver and Lena Dunham, they're like talking about, their future. It's kind of like this, where they're like, "Yeah, I can't wait to, like, we're going to do this, this, and this." And they're sitting at a diner and just looking at each other after they stop talking about their plans for the future. They just start looking at each other, and they start crying.
Mm.
And he's like, "Well, what are you going to do tomorrow?" And she's like, "I don't know." And they just have a weird conversation, and they just start like sobbing. And it's because they realize, like, all those plans that they were just talking about, they're never going to happen.
Yeah.
And they don't say anything about it. It's just like that unspoken, this is the last time we're going to see each other.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's exactly, I haven't seen those moments. I think that's the only time I've seen something like that. And I feel like for a couple that has been together for 4 years, that deeply love each other and that have a connection like that, that's exactly how it would happen.
yeah. And I think like after he just says it's okay. He's like, "You saved my life,"
Mhm.
and like that was, I don't
And
know, that
that's
was very
enough. I think you
sad.
said that's enough, right?
Yeah. That's
And I guess we
scary.
can talk about the whole, like, the conversation that he had with Joe. I think it ties back to that, where I think Joe realized that they they were toxic to each other. I think that they were only there, like what she said at the beginning, where she was like, if you hurt yourself, I'm hurting myself. Like, that was their relationship was built on, is just like, we're going to keep ourselves sober together. But I don't know if that's healthy, because it's like that whole, I'm only doing it so she won't,
Yeah. It's not really
when you
for
just have to do
yourself.
it for yourself. Yeah. And I think Joe realized that. And then
And
now that he's sober, or now they're both sober, but now that she's doing what she wants, and I think he's realizing that he's got to live a certain life that she is obviously not into, because like you said, she had this whole time to learn ASL, hasn't she? I guess she just assumed that he would, like, quote unquote, go back to normal, when that's not his life, is not like that anymore. To fit into that.
yeah. I think they just realized that he has no place in her life, that her in her new life, and
Yeah.
wow, that's like really scary.
Yeah, that's like a true fear, is like, is is not falling out of love with somebody, but like still being in love with them, but just realizing that you're just not, like, the relationship is just not what you need right now.
That's very scary.
Yeah.
This movie is. I mean, He leaves next
Oh yeah,
morning.
so he leaves the next
Uh,
morning without. I don't think he says goodbye. I think he just leaves.
nah, he just packs
Um,
his bag and goes, and then he's like just hitting the town, and then just the everything is so loud, just because of the implants, and you can tell it's a lot on him, and he's just sitting there, and he takes him out, and he just like basks in the silence. I think he does
yeah.
what Joe finally wants him to do, what he wanted him to do in that room, to just sit and to like
Oh my god, Make that connection. Yeah.
yeah, he just wanted
Holy
him to
shit. Yeah.
sit and to because I think at that point he's really come to terms with being deaf. Um, regardless of the implants, he's still deaf. Like,
Yeah, it's not gonna change it.
still hard of hearing at the very least.
Well, he also told him, didn't he ask him that? He was like, all those times you went in that room, did you ever actually reflect on anything? Didn't he say
Yeah,
that?
no, he said, "Did you ever experience silence or something like that?"
Oh yeah. Holy shit. I didn't even make that connection. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I put my last note is that the last scene is him just living in the silence. Because I don't think, I mean, I don't think it's like him being like, oh, yes, this is it. So, like, I think he's just like, yeah, this is my life and I need to stop avoiding it.
yeah, that's a great
Man, oh
movie.
man.
I like this
Very
movie
good.
a lot.
I will say I have a couple of notes, kind of fun facts or notes things. So overall I did like this movie. I really love the sound design. So I will say that the filmmakers made an immense effort to use meticulously thought out sound design so that the viewer experiences the hardships of losing hearing, the ability to find joy in life in spite of hearing loss, as well as the reality of cochlear implants, just like the main character. And I will say that that was super interesting to experience, and I'm really glad that I got to, because I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that. Like I feel like I was kind of in a way immersed into, at least maybe not the culture, like the deaf culture, but at least like, Ruben's experience. Um in terms of story though, I did think it was lacking a little bit, at least with, like, I felt like the filmmakers, this was one of the cases where the filmmakers had a ton of great ideas. And we talked about it. Like, for me, at least, what hit really, really hard for me was the relationship part of it. And I just wish they had more time to explore that. But then I did love, his mission to learn how to, like, the whole mission of the movie was him to learn how to be deaf. But I feel like we were missing parts of that. Like, I feel like they should have just focused on one of them rather than trying to put a lot of them into one movie. Like, I feel like some of them were lacking a little bit, but just like either pushing really hard for one or the other would have really made the difference. But that's just like a small thing.
I see what you're saying.
I do really love this movie, but I feel like some parts where I was like the whole hearing loss part, I was like, well, that, I mean, it just happened in one night. I wish I would have seen how it was, because we don't really know if he was losing it progressively and was just ignoring it. I want to know more about that. I love the relationship bit, but I feel like that could have been put in another movie.
Yeah, I really thought he was gonna get with the teacher.
Me too.
the the teacher.
I was waiting for a last scene where
Yeah.
we saw him back.
No, I mean he probably
I'm,
did.
I'm
Who
just going to
knows?
make that story in my head. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's my only note. I mean, I really love this movie. I love the acting. Love it. But yeah, I think it was, some of the elements were lacking some stuff.
I could see that. I think the sound doesn't doesn't the sound design does it for me. Like I think this movie is
Yeah.
awesome, and I I can say that I've never seen a movie like this where it really puts you
Huh.
in the perspective of the main character who's going through a tremendous loss, and it just made me think about uh if I lost my hearing, it would be ridiculous. It'd be so sad, and
But also, but I mean, but it gives you hope that, like, if you were, there's a community that you can lean on.
for sure.
I think it did that too. Like it didn't just tell you, like, it showed you the gravity of what that loss is like, but also I love like the thing we were talking about for like Soul is we experienced is it's important to watch movies that are of different perspectives and different experiences because then you can appreciate them a little bit more or at least have a different like view on them. Like now, like I said, the whole my whole thing was like I cannot believe accessible the world is to deaf people. And now, I mean, this movie didn't like automatically make me think of that. I already knew that, but this made it so much clear that like I can blame the world, but what am I doing to make people with disabilities like feel included in the world? You know, there's stuff that I can do.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to watch movies like this and to consume media that's not just about your perspective, because then you get different perspectives and then you get to learn what you can do to
Amazing
help.
movie.
Great movie. I have a couple of fun facts. So, first is that a large number of the cast were hired from the deaf community.
That's awesome.
Like I said last time, representation isn't hard, y'all. And this movie is a great example of that. Next one is Riz Ahmed said he hoped the film would encourage more hearing people to learn ASL. Done. I'm very encouraged. Lastly, is the plot and the main characters are based on Derek Cianfrance's unfinished docufiction from film Metalhead, sorry, in which the drummer of a heavy metal duo blows his eardrums out and must learn to adapt into a world of silence. The film was in post production since 2009 and it stars Jucifer's band members, amazing name, and real life couple Edgar Livengood and Gazelle Amber Valentine
What a
playing
name.
themselves. Darius Martyr was one of the screenwriters of Derek Cianfrance's The Place Beyond the Pines. I don't know if you've seen that, Anthony.
No.
Very long movie. Martyr was personally asked by Cianfrance to rework Metalhead from the beginning as well as giving his blessing. So this movie is based on another unfinished movie. Um, yeah. So those are the fun facts. Fantastic movie. I am glad that I picked it. I'm proud of myself.
I highly recommend. It's really good.
And I swear to fucking, I don't know if the Oscars are happening, but I swear to God, if Riz Ahmed doesn't get a nomination, and I know he won't, I don't know why I like set myself up for disappointment, but I swear to God. Right now, my campaign starts right now, and it'll make a difference.
It will. Well.
Remember Parasite last year? I single handedly, no kidding.
Oh yeah.
Did you see on Twitter when that one article where it was like how Parasite made odd films popular, something stupid like
What
that.
the?
Yeah, exactly. As somebody was like, the year before that, the best picture was about a woman that fucks a fish, but Parasite's odd.
Yeah. What the
And
hell?
then the Parasite Twitter quoted the article and said, "Who you calling odd?"
That's funny.
Amazing. Sorry, but yeah.
All right. Well, next week, um, we're watching a movie someone recommended to me. Kayla's coworker and one of our good friends recommended this movie. Shout out to Haley for listening and recommending this to me. I've been wanting to watch it again. We're gonna watch The Truman Show.
Ooh.
Truman Show. It's on both Prime and Hulu. So twofer. Go watch it. Either one of those platforms. Good movie.
I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Under 2 hours. I think it's like an hour 43. So it's
Oh,
it's
yeah,
getting close.
this one was two exactly.
Is that including credits?
I would say no.
Yeah. Well,
Unless you, well, I mean, I don't watch them. I know you don't.
you
You watch
watch
the
them?
credits? No.
I don't. But like I
Well
feel like
then,
there's always like 5-6 minutes long.
well, I don't know. If this one's under 2 hours though, I feel like I think didn't I say I was gonna pick another one and it was like 2.5 hours?
Yeah. You did say that.
God, I love a long movie. This one, okay, but this one was pretty well contained. I didn't feel like 2 hours.
Yeah, I didn't feel that long. Well,
All
Truman
right,
Show,
Truman Show. I'm excited. Yeah,
episode
haven't seen that in a
61.
while.
Thank you guys for listening. No new ratings on Apple Podcasts, so you know what that means. Go do it.
I think it's episode 60.
Next episode 61.
Okay.
I said watch Truman Show for episode 61.
Oh yeah. Okay. I stand corrected.
Thank you guys for listening.
To the
Twitter
cursed episode of.
at
Sorry. Go on.
at Brother Sister Show on Instagram, at Bro Sis Show on Twitter. Sorry, they're not the same.
Nothing we can do. Absolutely nothing we can do. There probably is, but I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah. Well. See you next time.
Bye.